You know, I thought about changing my shirt, but I'm doing this review, the Totally Killer review, on the same day, but I couldn't not change anything. So we changed the hat. I mentioned in my last video I was coming out of Halloween month and I wanted to focus on a couple of surprises. I thought about trying to do like a daily review thing, but honestly I was just caught up in a lot of stuff this month. So other side, I was like, I'll highlight a couple of them, and I know it's past horror movie season, but it's always horror movie season. Right. The second surprise of the month for me, I don't know why, I crossed paths with this film, X, directed by kind of, the up-and-coming horror auteur du jour. Got a lot of hype when it dropped, at least on the indie horror scene, but something about it I just didn't quite click with, and I don't know why. Sometimes a trailer drops or something, and I just feel like a film's going to try a little too hard to be something, but there it was on Prime for my viewing pleasure, part of my subscription fee, already covered, no further investment involved, so I dove in. Before I start, this is a really good film, but I want to talk a little bit about the director, Ty West. So Ty West has directed a bunch of horror episodes for different TV shows, The Exorcist TV shows, Scream, Outcast, others in the mix there. He's also directed a few indie horror, sometimes, thriller-esque, but in that genre, and he's never really clicked with me. Innkeepers would be a great example. That one got a lot of hype, and when I watched it, I just found it to be very uninteresting. It was just a long examination of drawn out suspense, not a lot happening. And I understand that there's some people who'd be like, oh, that's real horror getting inside your mind. Well, yes, but there has to be some sort of payoff. There has to be, whether that's violence, whether that's twist, there has to be something in the film that connects to it. X, I think, is him finding his stride. This film is essentially, if you want to package it in a nice little tagline, it's kind of like a new version, or at least inspired by the feel of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in my mind. You have a similar setting with this backcountry farmhouse, group of young people, all brilliantly acted. We got Scott Mescudi, which I believe is Kid Cudi. Hope I have that right, because if it is, I really enjoy Kid Cudi. Brittany Snow, who I haven't seen in a while. In my brain, I always connect her to the Prom Night remake, which not great, but she was okay in it. She's brilliant here. And then you have the burgeoning Mia Goth, who looks to be the new iteration of the Scream Queen, which is something maybe people have heard about thrown around on the internet. But essentially, in the 80s, women became the lead of so many different slasher and horror films, and some of them in multiples, they became known as Scream Queens. You have like Neve Campbell, who's in the movie Scream, is kind of like a current one, but she hasn't really branched out into too much horror. Mia Goth looks to be right on the cusp. She's been in some really dark films. X obviously blew up the prequel, which I haven't watched yet. Hopefully get that in me, and maybe it'll end up on here. She is tremendous in this film. Essentially what you have is a 70s film about a group of younger people. One of them's a little older, but younger people who are going off to this property that they've rented to shoot an adult film. They have, the industry, the porn industry at the time is blowing up. They're like, they have an idea of how they're going to get in. Everybody's got dollar signs in their eyes. And you have the owners of this country house who don't really know what these young people are into the property for, and they're a little bit weird, but whatever, they paid, so they're going to let it happen. And you have this slow build in where both the folks that own the country home and the property, you get to learn a lot about them for good and bad. And you also get to really know the people involved in this for good or bad. I think everybody in this film is pretty real feeling, which really helps when you have a horror film where the characters feel real. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like you're being told to like these people because they're cool, or told to like these people because of what they're saying. You just like these people because they feel like real people. And that's when the horror switch comes in this movie, and it's about halfway in, a really slow burn up to that like 45 minute mark. When that switch flips, oh man, we're talking blood, crocodiles, old people with giant guns. I don't want to get into spoilers here, but there is a wide range of violence, calamity, chaos, elder abuse. I shouldn't laugh, but you will. And you'll feel a little bad about it, and then that feeling will go away. How this film starts to how it finishes, this is Ty West finding his groove. He still goes a little too far. There's some artsy angles and side-by-sides that just took away from the grimy, realistic feel of the experience. Like, you're dialed in, you're really feeling a scene, and then all of a sudden you're like, side by side, and you're watching, and it just reminds you that you're watching a film. And I know that's a dumb thing to say. Of course, you know you're watching a film, but when you're really invested and you're watching all this happen and you're starting to really seeing those little tricks and how the camera just suddenly reminds you that it's a camera, it's just out of place. So Ty West is awesome. And I think he's doing a great job of evolving. And I'm hoping as he goes, he doesn't need tricks. Like, his camera work, his cinematography is already on point. It is great for a film like this. Those tricks, I think they hurt the film a bit. They make it drift into that art house category when this should have been a straight up bona fide return to that 70s grimy hack slash type film. Loved this movie. Cannot wait to watch Pearl. And the third film I hear is on the way as well. Definitely looking to add those to my collection. If you want dark, first film I talked about coming out of Halloween 2023 was Totally Killer. Yes, violent, but way more of a lighthearted kind of blood-soaked romp. This is hardcore. This is, you're going to be in for some real dark stuff, real uneasy moments, some solid, like, uncomfortable gore, and people that you don't want to die. So you're going to be invested into what's happening to them. These are not bad people. Like, they're just in a very messed up situation. So X, if you haven't watched it, by all means, set aside some time. If you're already Prime subscribed, get in there. It's free. So is Pearl. So maybe you'll beat me to it. That's all I got. 8 out of 10. This is an absolute top shelf horror film. One of the best newer horror films I've seen in a very, very, very long time. And Mia Goth, it's already everywhere on the underground and in a couple of my horror magazines that I follow, like Fangoria, Horror Hound. She's been featured in there. She's definitely on the cusp. I hope she embraces it, because she's that type of actress that the combination of screen presence, ability, willingness to go all in on characters with the rage, violence, like trying some very difficult roles. I think she could bring a real energy to the genre and become that new scream queen, you know, and 40 years down the road, be that girl still selling out at booths just to have people sign a photo or take a picture with them. Like, as horror fans, remember, we love people. And we'll see how this third film in the trilogy goes. I hope he closes it out with a bang, or maybe they just pull a Fast X and make like 82 of them Fast X. Why would Fast X be my go-to in any film conversation? Be Friday the 13th. Maybe they'll just make a gazillion of them. Or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Whatever, I'm here for it. So we'll see. Ty West, just trim that artsy down a bit. Till next, if you like what I do and my ridiculous forays into film and nerddom and horror and all kinds of other stuff, as well as the music stuff we do on the channel, like, subscribe, and we'll see you here next time.